Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to hear is a clip from the TFG1 Podcast Supplemental Episode 6. This was the Bueller edition of the podcast, wherein TFG1 Mike and I, Steve Megatron, review the classic John Hughes film Ferris Bueller. This was recorded February 27th, 2009. Mere months before the Geekcast Radio Network launched on June 1st, 2009. Here on M-Wire, in the podcast's nearly 7-year history, we have never gotten back to Bueller. Until now. Enjoy the trip to the Geekcast Radio Network's past, and then listen in as we review Ferris, right before the film's 30th anniversary year in 2016. This is Movie Week in Review, episode 123, recorded Tuesday, October 27th, 2015.
Adams.
Here.
Adamley.
Here.
Adamowski. Adamson.
Here.
Adler.
Here.
Anderson. Anderson.
Here.
Bueller. 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 Bueller.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
Fry. Fry. Fry.
TFG1 Podcast, which has been taken over by
Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
Yes, that's right, folks. Today's episode is dedicated to all things Ferris Bueller. Recorded February 27th, 2009.
Hey, bada 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 bada, so wing bada. Hey, bada 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 bada, so wing bada. Kennedy, so wing bada.
Hello and welcome to the TFG1 Podcast, which this supplemental episode has nothing to do with Transformers whatsoever. As you can tell by the two intros, this is all about Ferris Bueller, and with me today is Steve/Megatron of PredicationEmpire.com. Hello, Steve.
Hey, what's going on?
But I had a hankering for watching Ferris, and I popped it in and just laughed my ass off. So today will be all about Ferris Bueller.
Yes.
When did you first see this, and what did you think about it when you first saw it?
Oh, wow, that's,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm going to make you think this morning.
Damn
So
you.
You're
Just
gonna have
because
to
I'm awake.
Well, if you're awake, your brain should be functioning. If you weren't, if your brain wasn't functioning, you wouldn't be alive. well, unless you were in the hospital and you're brain dead and you're hooked up to a whole bunch of machines and everything else, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, that's way off topic. Shut up. But anyways, yeah, I think I'd first seen the movie when I was around, like, 7 or 8. And I sat there with my dad because we used to watch all those like old 80s movies because they were quite funny along the lines of Police Academy and Ferris Bueller and that kind of movie line. But I've always liked the Ferris Bueller movie just because he's such a badass and looks so like he couldn't pull it off, but you know he does. And the fact that he gets away with everything in the entire movie.
Yep. Yep, pretty much. As far as me, I don't remember when I actually first saw it. I just don't. I know I saw it when I was younger. I don't know when. I could have been 10, 11, 12. I don't know. Not really sure. I know I didn't see it when it came out because obviously I was 6 years old, and yeah, I don't think any parent would let their 6-year-old watch Ferris Bueller.
When did it come out?
86.
Wow. It's as old as me.
Yep.
Wow, that really dates that movie.
No, that really dates your age. 23-year-old bastard.
Oh, I'm not 23 yet. I will be in June.
Still, bastard. Look, I just turned 29. Damn it, I'm 1 year closer to 30. Son of a bitch. I I cannot believe that this movie is PG-13.
Yeah, especially for back in the day.
Yeah, because most of the movies back then were either G, PG, or R.
Yeah, well, they had some PG-13, which nowadays is like PG.
Yeah.
Well,
much.
shit, it's like G now. Yeah. Rated R back then is like PG now.
I'm trying to remember when I actually got this DVD. I don't remember. I remember I saw it. I was probably at Best Buy or something, and I saw it. It was just something that it was in, it comes with that special slipcover that most special editions come with now.
Yeah.
And it said the Bueller edition. I'm like, what? Because at first I thought it was only, of course, I think when I first got this was when VHS was still going out. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, cool. And I got it and I watched it. I think one of my favorite scenes is when they are trying to fool Rooney when Cameron's on the phone as Mr. Peterson.
That is an awesome scene.
That was just hilarious.
He starts getting all nervous and worked up.
Yep. And then I think there's only been 2 movies I've seen Edie McClurg in. She played Grace, the secretary, in this. The other one I saw her in was Airborne, which was Shane McDermott, Brittany Powell, Jack Black was in that. It was about a surfer who had to go live with his aunt and uncle in Cincinnati. But anyway, but Edie McClurg, one of her famous lines was, "Oh, everybody likes Ferris Bueller's, from the dweebies to the wastoids." I don't even know. It'll be in the audio. It'll be in the audio that I play that we play after the episode. But she was just hilarious. Just overall, it's a feel good movie. I mean,
and you gotta love that that catchy music that's at the beginning and the end.
Yep. Yep.
Like you hear that, Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah. It's funny, at the very end, I almost I watched through the end credits, because the end credits it has a whole storyline of Mr. Rooney getting on the school bus, and the school bus has like Rooney must die, Rooney eats it, this, that, and the other thing, because all the kids hate him.
Uh-huh.
Well, after all the credits roll, it fades to black, and you think that it's over. Well, the upstairs hallway of the house shows up, and Ferris pokes his head out, and he goes, "What are you still doing here? It's over. Go home." And he turns around and walks back to his bedroom or bathroom, whatever it is. He goes, "Go on, go home." And then it ends. So it's like, that was really cool. Oh crap! There's another one you're gonna have to edit out. I'm dying over here.
Damn you.
This is Dave. He really enjoys going to the movies. He's always considerate to his fellow moviegoers. This fellow is disturbing everyone around him. Oh, look, Dave is shutting off his phone. Now is not the time for talking or texting. Oh, well, now look at that. There's a true movie-watching friend. Let's all be more like Dave.
This is M-Wire, Movie Week in Review. M-Wire is brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up today to get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/geekcastradio. Start today with a free 30-day trial with over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter at audible_com. And now the latest and greatest in movies with M-Wire.
All right, folks, that's it. That's a blast from the TFG1 Podcast Pass, where we, before the Geekcast Radio Network started, we wanted to branch out and not talk Transformers. We wanted to talk Ferris Bueller. And this, of course, is Movie Week in Review. We are back brand new with a brand new format and a whole new outlook on the film industry. Well, probably not. I am one of your hosts, TFG1 Mike, and joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Howdy, 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 howdy.
How are you?
Doing good.
Doing good. Yep, we're on the road to episode 150 of M-Wire, and then after that, we're going to bring a whole new dynamic to the show. Last couple of weeks, we released episode 121 and 122, which was Good Will Hunting and the Three Musketeers, the Disney 1993 film with Tiger Blood himself. And a very young Tiger Blood actually appears in this movie as well.
Here he's not winning.
No, not at all. We've got Ferris Bueller back here again. This is his 109th sick day. So there you go. There's that. Before we get too far into the discussion, let's hit the lights, camera, action after this.
What is so dangerous about a character like Ferris Bueller is he gives good kids bad ideas.
Uh-huh.
Last thing I need at this point in my career is 1,500 Ferris Bueller disciples running around these halls. He jeopardizes my ability to effectively govern this student body.
Well, makes you look like an ass is what he does, Ed.
Thank you, Grace. I think you're wrong.
Oh, well, he's very popular, Ed. The sportos and motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
As I said, it's lights, camera, action time. This is a rapid discussion on the theatrical release, the DVD, Blu-ray release, the director of the film, stars of the film, box office performance, and critical reception. So the theatrical release was... when was it?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
No, that's in a few episodes. Anyway, actually, we already did 5 hours of that crap. 5.5 if you
it's
count.
A crap.
You did 5.5 if you count Spaceballs. Ferris Bueller was released to theaters from Paramount Pictures on June 11th, 1986. Wow, 10 days before we started the network.
What year did it come out?
You didn't know that?
Came out my birth year.
Yeah, that's right.
That makes it awesome.
Yes, it does. It's on DVD and Blu-ray, folks. I don't know the exact date. That is somehow... I don't know, it somehow eludes me. The director of the film, obviously, is John Hughes. The stars of the film are Matthew Broderick, Alan Ruck, Jeffrey Jones, Mia Sara, Jennifer Grey.
There's no Dirty Dancing or Tiger Blood in this episode.
Well, there kind of is.
Well, that's probably why he's in jail. Too much Tiger Blood.
He's in jail now?
No, I'm joking. I'm saying in the movie.
Oh, in the movie. Okay, in the movie.
Yeah,
in the movie.
I know. It gets so hard to tell the difference between him in real life and him in altered realities, but
yeah, ain't that the truth? All right, so the budget for the movie was $5.8 million. It made $70.1 million.
Not bad
for the box office. Not bad at all. Absolutely awesome. And the critical reception for this movie, let's see here. The film received critical acclaim from critics and audiences. It has a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, having an aggregated critical film review score of 80%. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, calling it one of the most innocent movies in a long time. Are you kidding me? This is one of the most dark, hilarious comedies I've ever seen. How is this movie innocent? Well, parts... we'll get into that when we talk about the plot, folks. He also says it's a sweet and warm-hearted comedy. Richard Roper called Ferris one of my favorite movies of all time, and it has one of the highest repeatability factors of any film I've ever seen. I can watch it again and again. There's also this, and I say in all sincerity, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is something of a suicide prevention film, or at the very least a story about a young man trying to help his friend gain some measure of self-worth. Ferris has made it his mission to show Cameron that the whole world in front of him is passing him by, and that life can be pretty sweet if you just wake up and embrace it. That's the lasting message of Ferris Bueller, after all. Roper's license plate, SVFRRIS, also pays homage to the film. Save Ferris. This movie is just simply amazing. It really, really is. If you guys don't know, if you've never seen this before, well, first of all, stop this podcast, go out and get Ferris Bueller and watch it. It is written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, as I already said. The film follows high school senior Ferris Bueller, played by Matthew Broderick, who skips school and spends the day in a downtown Chicago along with his girlfriend Sloane Peterson, played by Mia Sara, and his best friend Cameron Fry, played by Alan Ruck. He creatively avoids his school's dean of students, Edward Rooney, played by Jeffrey Jones, his resentful sister Jeannie, played by Jennifer Grey, and his parents. During the film, Bueller regularly breaks the fourth wall by speaking directly to the camera and explaining the audience and his thoughts and techniques. Hughes wrote the screenplay in less than a week and shot the film on a budget of $5.8 million, as I already said, over 3 months in 1985. Featuring many famous Chicago landmarks, including the then Sears Tower, now called Willis Tower. I'm sorry, anyone that is from Chicago or has a love affair with that city will always call it the damn Sears Tower. And the Art Institute of Chicago. In 2014, the film was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry as per being deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. When did you first see Ferris Bueller?
I want to say I was like 12. Maybe 10.
Huh.
Somewhere in that vicinity. I remember watching it with my dad, though, because I watched a lot of those 80s movies with him, and it's one of those ones, along the same time that I saw Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and, stuff like that. I mean, they just, in Beverly Hills Cop, they all just kind of stuck with me as, like, some of those crown jewels of the 80s. And being that, Ferris was just awesome. What kid wouldn't want to be Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he's constantly in trouble and he's a liar. But.
Well, he's not necessarily a liar.
He uses the system. They're just not smart enough to see it. We'll say that because that's more of a fair answer.
Using the system and exploiting the system's flaws is not the same as me telling you the pencil in my hand is blue, not orange. It's not the same, but I get your point. Yeah. But yeah, for me, I saw this maybe 1990, 91, so I was 10 or 11. And he, just like the rest of the kids in the school, they all think he's, super cool. They think he's a righteous dude and all this stuff.
He's a righteous dude.
Yeah. And the guy is. I mean, he really is. He's one of those people that that other students want to look up to. First of all, he's a senior. He's about to graduate, or if he can stay in school to graduate. I almost think that these 9 days of his, and I think Rooney even says this. He says this to his Ferris's mother. He's like, if your son thinks he can just skate through and miss the last week of school, he's got another thing coming. So essentially, this is like right before summer. This is right as he needs to get on the horse and get the hell out of high school.
He's gonna pony up.
Mm-hmm. This is where Matthew Broderick as Ferris Bueller. This is where everyone nowadays, I would say from the 90s to now, anytime you have a character doing what he does, talking directly to the audience, this is where they got it from. This is like, you watch Clarissa Explains It All again. I'm sure we would have a show similar to Clarissa or whatever that it would have. But without Ferris Bueller, there is no Clarissa Explains It All. I mean, there just really isn't, because this marked I don't want to say historical point in film, but it's the only way I can think to put it. But it's like, nobody really does that. Nobody really sits there and breaks the fourth wall, not intentionally. I mean, not unless you're Spider-Man on Spider-Man and his Web Warriors or anything like that, or Ultimate Spider-Man, or whatever that new Spider-Man cartoon is called. But Ferris, yeah, I saw it when I was 9 or 10, and I've seen it obviously multiple times over the years, and just it's a movie that you can always go back to. And as I mentioned earlier, that Richard Roper had said, the repeat watchability on this is just absolutely awesome.
Oh yeah, it's one of my go-to movies whenever I'm wanting something that's like not only nostalgic, but it's also like very kind of pointed in what I would. Whenever I'm wanting to look at something that's high school based, this is like my go-to movie.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's this for the 80s, and for the 90s, it's the 1999 film 10 Things I Hate About You with Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles. So if I want 80s high school, I'll watch this. If I want 90s high school, I'll watch that. So jumping on the casting couch here with Matthew Broderick. Before Ferris, he was in Lady Hawk. I don't remember Lady Hawk at all.
Is that like Chicken Hawk?
No. After Ferris, he was in Biloxi Blues. He was in The Freshman in 1990. He was in Out on a Limb. In 1994, he was a Lion King. He was the voice of adult Simba.
Simba.
Yeah. He was, now see, I need to find a contrasting film for this for the future of MWire, because I know we've never covered this, and I know you probably want to. He was you, Stephen M. Kovacs in The Cable Guy. He was in the 1998 Godzilla film.
That travesty. We don't talk about it.
I guess he needed a paycheck that year. He was in the very first and the only one that really matters, live action Inspector Gadget film, 1999. Recently, in the last few years, he's done a bunch of stuff for the films and whatever else. Apparently, this year he's himself in the movie Trainwreck. A couple of years ago, he was in Tower Heist. For TV, he's in Louie in one episode from this year. He was in Modern Family, 30 Rock, Adventure Time. He was in, he was on Frasier as a voice. He was one of the callers in that episode of Frasier, that's right. I didn't know he was on Fairy Tale Theater back in '85. Wow, that's awesome. And he's also done a number of stage productions. I think either upcoming or already happened this year. He did Sylvia. 2012 to 2013, he had Nice Work If You Can Get It. Broderick he's one of those actors that I don't think this has hurt his career, but I wish he would get more regular work in film and TV.
He kind of takes his time on getting stuff anymore.
Yeah. Because really, outside of Simba and Ferris, those are really the two Make Me Famous kind of major roles that I know him from. So with that, we go to Cameron Fry himself, Alan Ruck. I was shocked all to hell to see that he was in Spin City.
Yeah, I really wasn't, but the one thing I knew him from, other than this, was Star Trek Generations. He played Captain John Harriman of the USS Enterprise B.
Interesting.
So that was what I knew him from.
After Ferris for films, he was in Young Guns 2. You already mentioned Star Trek Generation. He was in Speed.
Speed Racer?
Speed, 1994. Keanu Reeves, the bus jumps the freeway. Speed. He was one of the bus passengers, Doug Stevens. He's like, one of his best lines out of that was, "This is the airport. one of the other guys says, yeah, so I already seen the airport. He came back for Star Trek of Gods and Men in 2008 as the same character as you already mentioned. This year he did Carnage Park. It's interesting. For television, I already mentioned Spin City. He did that from 96 to 02. He was in Mad About You for 4 episodes. He was in Psych for an episode. He was on Justified. He was on Bunheads. He was in Hawaii Five-0. I like Alan Ruck. I think he's that's one reason. Don't get me wrong, I like Spin City, but I like the Michael J. Fox years more than I like the Charlie Sheen years. But I'll say, even with the Charlie Sheen era of Spin City, Alan Ruck still rocked that show.
He rocked that show.
Funny guy. Yeah. Mia Sara has an interesting career path here. She was after Ferris. Well, before Ferris, she was in Legend as Princess Lily. I hope I'm saying that name right. Whatever. After Ferris, she ended up in Daughter of Darkness, By the Sword, A Stranger Among Us, Time Tracks, Time